At 80, Tom Selleck finally breaks his silence about James Garner, and what he reveals changes how people see their story forever. But long before the fame, the headlines, and the Hollywood legends, Tom Selleck was just a kid from a working-class family, born Thomas William Selleck on January 29, 1945, in Detroit, Michigan, before his family later packed up and moved to Sherman Oaks, California. Growing up in Southern California in the years after World War II, Tom wasn't dreaming of movie sets or red carpets. His heart was on the court. Basketball was the goal, the future, and the path he believed his life would follow. That belief earned him a basketball scholarship to the University of Southern California, where he played for the USC Trojans while studying business administration. Acting? Not even on his radar, not yet. As far as he was concerned, Hollywood had nothing to do with his plans. Then, one unexpected moment changed everything. A drama coach at USC saw something in Tom that he hadn't seen in himself and pushed him to try acting. At first, it was just a few classes, then a few commercials, including the now iconic Pepsi ads of the 1960s. But somewhere between the bright lights and the rolling cameras, Tom realized he was exactly where he was meant to be. With natural charisma, towering height, and rugged good looks that couldn't be ignored, he stood out instantly. And before anyone could predict it, the young basketball player was quietly stepping into a future that would turn him into one of television and film's most recognizable stars. Before the fame, before the moustache, and long before the Ferrari, Tom Selleck was just another hopeful actor grinding through Hollywood, chasing small chances and refusing to quit. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, he popped up in guest roles on popular shows like The Dating Game and The Rockford Files. Not exactly stardom, but enough to sharpen his skills, learn the business, and quietly build the right connections behind the scenes. One of the most life-changing connections came through James Garner, who didn't just befriend Selleck, but became a mentor and steady supporter when big breaks were still out of reach. Around the same time, Selleck kept getting close to major film roles, only to watch them slip away at the last second. The biggest heartbreak? Nearly becoming Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg actually wanted him, but a scheduling conflict with his TV contract shut the door on what could have been another legendary career moment. Then, in 1980, everything finally shifted. Selleck landed the role that would change his life forever, private investigator Thomas Magnum on CBS's Magnum PI. With the Hawaiian shirts, the red Ferrari, and that now iconic moustache, he didn't just play the character, he became a cultural symbol of cool. The show exploded in popularity, ran for 8 stronger seasons, and earned Selleck both an Emmy and a Golden Globe. But it wasn't just the action or the mysteries that kept people watching. Fans connected to Magnum because Selleck made him feel real. Tough but kind, confident but vulnerable, funny yet deeply human. Even decades later, when people think of TV detectives, Thomas Magnum is still one of the first names that comes to mind. And with that success behind him, Selleck was finally ready to prove he was more than just a television star. Just when audiences thought they had him figured out, he flipped the script. Tom Selleck didn't stay boxed into one lane, he charged straight into film, lighting up the big screen throughout the 1980s and 1990s with a surprising range of roles. One of the biggest, 3 Men and a Baby in 1987, a comedy that exploded at the box office and proved he could deliver laughs just as easily as he delivered action. Then he rode into the Western world with Quigley Down Under in 1990, a film that tapped into his love of the genre and showed that his rugged presence was made for cowboy legends. These performances added new layers to his career, proving he wasn't just a leading man, he was a true all-around actor, capable of humor and heavy drama alike. And instead of fading with time, Selleck reinvented himself. In 2010, he stepped into one of the most powerful roles of his life as Frank Reagan on the long-running CBS drama Blue Bloods. As the steady, no-nonsense head of a New York law enforcement family, he brought strength, heart, and quiet authority to every scene, earning admiration from both critics and loyal fans. The role didn't just extend his career, it redefined it, securing his place as one of television's most enduring stars. But while his career was rising, his personal life was shaped by choices that mattered just as much. From 1971 to 1982, Tom Selleck was married to Jacqueline Ray, a glamorous figure in the fashion world of the late 60s and early 70s. During their marriage, Selleck made a decision that revealed who he really was behind the fame. He legally adopted Jacqueline's young son, Kevin Shepard, born in 1966 from a previous relationship, choosing to fully step into the role of father despite the growing demands of Hollywood. It was a move driven by responsibility and commitment, showing that family came first, even as his star was just beginning to rise. Kevin grew up not only with the support of his mother and adoptive father, but also inside the fast-changing world of 1970s Hollywood, right as Selleck's journey from small TV roles to major fame was taking off. But Kevin didn't live in anyone's shadow. Instead, he carved out a life that was entirely his own, following a heartbeat that led him straight into music. He became a professional drummer and later found real success with the American rock band Tonic, a group that broke into the mainstream alternative scene in the 1990s with charting hits and national recognition. Kevin's rise was driven by his own talent and grit, but there's no doubt that Selleck's love and guidance during those early years gave him the confidence and stability to chase big dreams. After his relationships with Jacquel and Ray came to an end, Selleck's life took an unexpected turn, one that would change everything. Fate pulled him across the Atlantic, where he would soon meet the woman who would become his forever. On August 7, 1987, Tom Selleck married Jill Joan Mack, a British actress and dancer born in 1957. But their love story began long before the wedding. At the time, Selleck was in London for work when he decided to attend a performance of the musical Cats, one of the biggest stage sensations of that era. That night, someone in the cast caught his eye, Jill, known to friends as Jilly. One look was enough to spark his interest, and what started as a simple moment in the audience quickly turned into something much deeper. A chance meeting soon grew into a real romance. Even with Selleck's rising fame in America and Jill's established career in Britain, distance and busy schedules didn't pull them apart. Instead, their connection only grew stronger. When they finally married, they chose to keep the ceremony quiet and low-key, a clear reflection of Selleck's desire to protect his private life from Hollywood's constant spotlight. And over the years, that quiet choice proved powerful, as their marriage became known for loyalty, partnership, and genuine respect. Not long after, their family grew. On December 16, 1988, Tom and Jill welcomed their only child, Hannah Margaret Selleck. But unlike many children raised around fame, Hannah didn't chase cameras or red carpets. Instead, she found her passion in wide-open fields and stable doors. From a young age, she fell in love with horses and competitive riding, inspired by the outdoor lifestyle her parents encouraged, choosing a path built on discipline, focus, and a love for the sport rather than the spotlight. Long before the spotlight found her, Hannah was already carving out a name of her own.
What started as a passion grew into an elite career as she became a successful and highly respected competitive equestrian, representing her family on the international stage with grace, discipline, and quiet confidence. Tom Selleck has never hidden his pride, often praising Hannah's relentless dedication and the mental and physical toughness it takes to thrive in such a demanding sport.
Away from red carpets and studio lots, the Selleck family chose a very different version of success. Instead of Hollywood's non-stop buzz, they settled into a calm, wide-open life in Southern California, on a sprawling 60-acre avocado ranch tucked away in Hidden Valley near Thousand Oaks and Westlake Village. The land itself carries a touch of old Hollywood magic. It once belonged to legendary entertainer Dean Martin, but for the Sellecks, it offered something far more valuable: privacy, peace, and a real connection to the earth. And this wasn't just a place to escape to. Unlike many actors who surround themselves with luxury, Selleck threw himself into the daily grind of ranch life. The dusty roads, avocado groves, and open fields weren't a backdrop, they were part of his routine. In a 2012 interview with People magazine, he openly shared how much fulfillment he found in doing the work himself. For Selleck, fixing roads and clearing brush felt far more rewarding than lifting weights indoors. "I like to get outside and work on the ranch," he explained, noting how physical labor kept him grounded. With his trademark humor, he added, "I hate going to the gym, so sweating outdoors sure beats sitting on a stationary bike staring at my navel." That one line said everything. It captured his down-to-earth mindset, his dislike for pretension, and his belief in earning things the hard way. He even joked that he worked cheaper than anyone he could hire, a small comment that revealed a lot about his work ethic, humility, and pride in personally maintaining the life he built beyond fame. For Tom Selleck, his ranch isn't just land, it's a sanctuary, a statement, and a way of life. Amid the chaos of Hollywood's flashing cameras and relentless scripts, the ranch offers him something rare: peace, authenticity, and the freedom to just be himself. Living there with his wife Jill and daughter Hannah, Selleck has built more than a home. He has built a life that mirrors his values: family, privacy, and integrity. These principles haven't just shaped his personal life, they've helped him sustain a career that has spanned decades in an industry where stability is a rare luxury. Now, at 80, Selleck is in a reflective stage of life, ready to share stories he once held close. One story in particular has remained largely untold: the profound influence of James Garner. For years, Selleck hesitated to speak in depth about Garner, worried that words might fall short of expressing the respect and gratitude he truly felt. But with the perspective that comes from a long, accomplished career, he is finally opening up, revealing the truth about a man he saw not only as a colleague, but a mentor, a role model, and ultimately, a true friend. Selleck's admiration for Garner didn't start on set, it began long before. Growing up in the 1950s, he watched Maverick, captivated by Garner's effortless charisma. Unlike the brooding, rugged cowboys common on TV at the time, Garner blended toughness with charm, humor with humanity. He wasn't just a star, he was a master of balance, a trait that would leave a lasting imprint on Selleck's own approach to life and work. Few friendships in Hollywood leave a mark deeper than the one Tom Selleck had with James Garner. To Selleck, Garner wasn't just a legendary actor, he was a rare gem in an industry full of pretense, authentic, grounded, and utterly genuine. Unlike many stars who played life-larger-than-life personas, Garner carried himself with such sincerity that audiences believed him immediately. That admiration didn't just stay in Selleck's mind, it turned into a career-defining moment. In the 1980s, already famous as Thomas Magnum on Magnum P.I., Selleck had the chance to work alongside Garner on The Rockford Files, Friends and Foul Play, and later on several other projects. He remembers feeling nervous before their first meeting, bracing himself for the possibility that the television icon might be intimidating or aloof. Instead, Garner disarmed him instantly, with warmth, humor, and a humility that seemed almost rare in Hollywood. Jim Garner treated everyone the same way, from the director to the guy holding the boom mic. That taught me more about being a professional than any acting class ever could, Selleck has said. But Garner's lessons went far beyond courtesy. On long, grueling days of filming, he became a mentor and a sounding board, offering guidance not only on acting, but on surviving an industry that often chews up its stars. Garner warned Selleck about the traps of fame, ego, entitlement, and the temptation to sacrifice integrity for success. He encouraged him to stay grounded, reminding him that no paycheck or burst of publicity was worth compromising character. Those lessons stayed with Selleck throughout his career, shaping him into a man who could succeed without losing himself. And perhaps the most personal lesson came from observing Garner's life off-screen. Watching Garner's enduring marriage to Lois Clark, Selleck realized that it was possible to be a star and a family man, admired on-screen and beloved at home. Even at the peak of his fame, Selleck prioritized his own family, an inspiration directly drawn from the man who taught him what truly mattered in life. At 80, Selleck admits it plainly. He owes much of who he became as an actor and a man to James Garner. At the height of his fame, when the spotlight was brightest and the offers wouldn't stop coming, Tom Selleck made a choice that surprised Hollywood. He stepped away from Magnum P.I. to be with his wife Jill and their daughter Hannah on their quiet California ranch. And in many ways, that decision was inspired by watching James Garner choose love and stability over the non-stop grind of fame. Looking back, Selleck doesn't hesitate to admit just how much Garner's friendship shaped him, not just as an actor, but as a man. Their bond was shared laughter, deep respect, and the unspoken understanding of what it meant to carry the pressure of a hit TV show. While Garner battled his own health issues and career frustrations, he still found ways to lift Selleck's spirits when fame became overwhelming. He had a gift for easing tension with a joke or a simple story. As Selleck once recalled, Jim could make you feel like everything was going to be okay, even when the pressure felt unbearable. Now, when Selleck looks at his own legacy, he knows it can't be separated from Garner's influence. He doesn't just see him as a mentor, but as a reflection of the kind of actor and the kind of man he always hoped to become. Garner's kindness, humor, and humanity left a mark that time never erased. And by finally speaking so openly, Selleck wants the world to understand just how important Garner truly was to him. "I owe him more than I can ever repay," he admits. "James Garner set the standard for everything I've tried to be, and even at 80, I'm still chasing that standard." This story is a heart-filled tribute to the man who set the standard for Selleck and inspired him to chase not just stardom, but a life well lived.